Hello and welcome. It is I, Raymond Modulin, aka the Real Estate Monkey, and welcome to Real Estate with Raymond. Today's show, we are going to talk about the benefits of dealing with a pre-qualified buyer. Now, as you can see, I am in my car, but I have pulled over in a parking lot because I knew it would be safe, and I really didn't want to miss this. And texting and driving is really not smart. Because if you text and drive, typically I used to spill my beer all the time, so I had to quit doing it. If you've got questions, I want you to welcome them down here. I want to say hello to Gwen. Hi, Gwen. How you doing? I see you're tearing it up over there. So what we're going to talk about today mainly is why you want to deal with a pre-qualified buyer. There's a couple main reasons that can get you started. Todd's joining us in. I'm glad to see. We got, looks like all the big hitters are in here today. If you guys got questions, put them down in there and or comments, and we'll go over them. So dealing with pre-qualified buyers, there's a really couple good things. First of all, let's just talk about the obvious reason why you want to deal with a pre-qualified buyer. The obviously number one reason is you don't have to worry about spinning your wheels on a client that's not going to buy. You know, things were different back in 03 and 04 as they are now. One of the things now is you don't want to go out there at gas being the price it is and it's hard to get money and waste your time with a client that's not pre-qualified. All right. So you want to make sure that your client can actually get pre-qualified. That kind of helps you up, helps you out. All right. So from that standpoint it's making sure that someone else has already looked at them. Now, once again, we're talking about pre-qualified buyers if you're new, so feel free to make comments down here or questions that you're talking about. And the first reason is it just saves you time that you could have been spending with someone else. All right, so you've got a buyer on the line. He calls you up and says, hey, I saw the property. In 03, when you could get mortgages and go, yeah, I could get a mortgage, it was real simple. Now in today's world, you're like, oh, have you been pre-qualified? Because getting money is a little harder, and I don't necessarily want to spend my time helping you or wasting my time. Of course, you don't say that to them, all right? A second reason you want to deal with pre-qualified buyers is if anybody's taken my continuing ed this year, you notice that safety has become a very big issue with the real estate industry. It should be with about every industry as we talk about it. But one of the good things as far as pre-qualified buyers in dealing with safety is if someone else has already vetted this person, i.e. your lender, that then allows you to feel pretty comfortable with going out with this person at least the first time. All right? And there are things you can do to mitigate potential risks with your buyer, but the number one thing you could do is actually get them pre-qualified. You know, have them, when they call you and go, hey, I'm sitting in front of the house, will you come and help me out? You could say, well, have you been pre-qualified? No, you haven't? Well, let me give you my lender and let the lender pre-qualify you. Once they pre-qualify you, they'll call me back. We can go look at houses. All right? So there's a safety factor in there that allows some protection of you by getting a pre-qualified. So if you're just joining and you got questions, put them down here or comments. We're dealing with why we should deal with pre-qualified buyers. And obviously the first reason was the time factor. You know, you want to make sure that you're not wasting someone's time or yours. The second reason is a safety issue. You get this person pre-qualified by somebody, then you don't have to worry so much as, okay, I've never met this person, but if they've gone through the qualification process, they've ponied up Social Security numbers and things like that. All right. Now, here's the third reason why you want to deal with a pre-qualified buyer. Because in the market that we have right now, with the speed and velocity that houses are selling, you want to be able to put an offer in post haste. All right. That does not allow for you to see a house and like it, and then your buyer go, okay, well, let me go make an application and I'll get back with you 4 or 5 days from now, because that's probably not going to be on the market. So there's a timing issue and a speed issue that helps get you up. Making sure. So what you've got is 3 issues on why dealing with pre-qualified buyers are great to work with. One is the time issue of I'm not wasting my time with someone that doesn't have the ability to buy. 2 is there's a safety issue because if you get them pre-qualified, then you kind of vetted them through a process. The third one is the velocity of the market that we've got today will allow you to be able to put in offers immediately if you've already got the pre-qualification. Guess I should have put my phone on airplane mode. I'll learn that one trick here in a little bit. I hope we're still connected. It says we are. Also, don't forget, today is June the 24th. You've got your continuing ed due. You've got like 6 days. So if you need help with your continuing ed, come see me at myrealu.com and get your continuing ed. I want to thank all the people for joining in. If you've got questions, hang around for a minute. We're going to hang out some more. What we've been talking about is working with pre-qualified buyers. Opinion on pre-qualification versus pre-approval. Well, there's a difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. My opinion is the approval process is a lot stronger where I can pre-qualify anybody. And basically pre-qualification is when someone calls up and goes, I make $1 million, I've got no bills, and somebody writes a letter saying, well, based on what they told me, they ought to be able to get a loan for $4.8 million. That's very bogus. The approval process is where they actually now have to prove all of that. Takes a little bit longer and may have a little more hoops to jump through because now they got to prove all that. But the good thing is, Kate, is that now they have already been pre-approved for the true amount. And I guess the fourth thing that you could add in about dealing with pre-approved buyers is that you actually now know the exact amount of house they can buy. They may have wanted to say, oh, well, I've got a good job and I'm looking for a $300,000 house, but may only get pre-approved for $180,000. Or vice versa. Maybe they thought they can only get a $180,000 house and they found out they can get a $300,000 house. So that's a fourth reason that you might want to get a pre-qualified buyer. So, Kate, I hope that helps you, that you should always be looking for the pre-approval rather than a pre-qualification. The pre-qual basically isn't worth the paper it's written on. Now, here's another question that's happening a lot with the pre-approval is some bank-owned homes are wanting your client to get pre-approved through their lender, which to me is bogus because that almost is virtually saying we don't trust your lender enough to believe their letter. So I have a problem with that whole concept. If they're a federal lender, like, one of the big banks or one of the mortgage brokers who's going to a bank, they ought to take anybody's pre-approval letter. All right. So once again, while you're dealing with plus tax, that's not going to come out good. And I guess you can't edit that on live TV, huh? 1 is the time issue. 2 is the safety issue. 3 is the velocity in which homes are sold. And 4 is making sure your client buys or can buy the right price line of property. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming in and remind you next Friday we'll be here, 12 noon on Facebook Live. If you've got an idea for a topic, put it right down here. Or send me an email to Raymond@myrealu, and then I'll get it to us. Until then, remember, you got 6 days to get your CE done. Peace out. Bye.